The Odyssey by Homer. 10 years after the Trojan War, the great hero Odysseus is trapped on a remote island by the beautiful nymph Calypso. Meanwhile, back in Ithaca, his son Telemachus is powerless as aggressive suitors consume his inheritance and pressure his mother Penelope to remarry. Athena, patron goddess of Odysseus, secures his release from the gods, infuriating his enemy, the sea god Poseidon. The hero sails away from the nymph's island on a rough-hewn raft. Poseidon immediately unleashes a brutal storm. He washes ashore on Scheria, where he is discovered and befriended by the Phaeacian princess Nausicaa. Taken to the palace, Odysseus reveals his true identity and begins to recount his 10 years of terrifying trials. Odysseus begins his tale with a disastrous raid on the Cicones, where his men's greed led to slaughter. They land in the land of the Lotus Eaters, where crewmen forget their goal and succumb to the sweet, intoxicating lethargy. Next, they encounter the brutal Cyclops, Polyphemus, who is the son of Poseidon. Several of his men are devoured. Odysseus cunningly blinds the giant with a sharpened stake after plying him with wine. He escapes by clinging to the bellies of the giant sheep, then foolishly shouts his true name in a fatal moment of pride. They reach the island of Aeolus, who gifts Odysseus a bag containing all the contrary winds. Within sight of Ithaca, his greedy crew opens the bag, releasing the winds and blowing them all the way back to danger. They reach the island of the sorceress Circe, who turns many of his scouting men into swine. A year later, before leaving Circe, the hero must journey to the land of the dead, Hades, to seek prophecy from the shade of Tiresias. Their journey continues past the Sirens, whose deadly song Odysseus must resist while tied to his mast. They pass through the narrow straits, losing 6 men to the 6-headed monster Scylla. They barely escape the whirlpool Charybdis, creating a massive, sucking void next to the small ship. His remaining men commit the final impiety, eating the sacred cattle of the sun god, Helios. Shipwrecked and utterly alone, the hero drifts until he washes up on Calypso's island, where he is trapped for 7 years. The Phaeacians, moved by his story, finally sail the weary hero home to Ithaca, asleep on their ship. Arriving disguised as an old beggar by Athena, he moves through his own land unrecognized and abused by the suitors. He is recognized only by his old loyal dog, Argos, who dies upon seeing his beloved master. Telemachus meets his father in secret, and the two begin secretly plotting the destruction of the suitors who plague their home. The cunning wife, Penelope, delays the suitors by promising to choose a husband once she finishes weaving a shroud for Laertes, only to secretly unravel it each night. The old nurse, Euryclea, washes the beggar's feet and recognizes Odysseus by an old scar on his thigh. The disguised hero warns Penelope that her husband is near and advises her to go forward with her plan. Penelope announces the bow contest. She will marry the man who can string Odysseus's great bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads. None of the arrogant suitors can string the bow. They mock the old beggar when he asks for a turn. Odysseus takes the bow, strings it effortlessly, and fires the arrow perfectly through the axes, signaling the end of his disguise. The great hall becomes a slaughterhouse as Odysseus kills the lead suitor, Antinous, with an arrow through the throat. Odysseus and Telemachus lock the doors and execute a violent, bloody massacre of the remaining suitors. The loyal wife, Penelope, is brought forth, still unable to believe the beggar is truly her long-lost husband. To test his identity, Penelope asks a servant to move their shared marriage bed, a piece of furniture Odysseus knows is immovable. He angrily proves he knows the bed's secret construction, revealing his identity beyond any doubt. The couple is finally, tearfully reunited after 20 years of separation and struggle. The families of the dead suitors attack the palace in revenge, but Odysseus fights them off. Athena appears, commanding peace and imposing divine reconciliation upon all of Ithaca. The war is over, the house is clean, and the king is restored, finally securing the throne for himself and Telemachus. The epic remains the foundational story of Nostos, meaning homecoming, teaching that enduring the greatest struggles is only worthwhile for the identity found at home. It is a powerful exploration of mythi, or cunning intelligence, proving that human wit and perseverance can overcome both monstrous brutality and divine rage. The story honors the power of loyal relationships, the enduring commitment of Penelope, the maturation of Telemachus, and the faithful devotion of Argos. Did you like this story? Let us know. Hit that like button, drop a comment below, and be sure to subscribe to Storytime Illustrated so you never miss a classic. Want more epic tales? Click on either video on screen now for your next illustrated story.